This is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association, located at 1601 East 18th Street, Suite 200F.
What's up, Kansas City? I'm Serenity, and today we have poet Jen Harris.
Hi.
How are you doing, Jen?
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So tell us, how did you get into poetry?
How did I get into poetry? I was out in San Francisco working and just kind of enjoying my life. And I went to the Berkeley Poetry Slam, and it just blew my mind. So I tried to compete in those slams and straight up got hooked off stage because I ran over time.
Yeah, that 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh man, it was so humbling. So I went home and I spent like 6 months writing, and then I moved back to Kansas City, and there wasn't a slam scene, so great group of people kicked one off, and it's just been it's been history since then.
As far as kick one up, you talking about Pound Slam, right?
Yeah, I went to Poetic Underground open mic, and the first time I ever went, it was like the end of 2013. There was no one there. It was just me, the bartender, and a microphone because nobody knew about it. And I started working with some people in the community who really had been on the poetry scene and wanted to create another gathering place for everybody to be able to come. And I was like, well, while we're at it, let's create a slam. And that's how Pound Slam was born. And it's been going strong for 2 years now. But I'm really surprised. Like, I thought, well, surely people will just come out for a few months and humor me, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So.
And where's that at exactly? Uptown Arts Bar?
Pound Slam's at Uptown Arts Bar. Yeah, it's at 3611 Broadway in Kansas City. And I recently retired as a slam master. I ran it for the first 2 years, and then decided I wanted to be able to take time to focus on my own creativity and my own travels, because I've been traveling a lot for poetry. So I turned it over, but I'm hosting a couple more feature shows and just hanging out and enjoying the music and the sound of poets and how they're all evolving now. We got a new generation through the door, so.
So where have you traveled recently?
I've been in I was in Salina last.
That's right, you had the feature, right?
Yeah, I got to do 2 different features in Salina, one for One Mic and one for That Sound Downtown. Both were incredible because Cash Curtis is really amazing, and he does a lot of shows in Wichita. And Morgan Christopher started another show that I enjoyed. I've been in, I can't, God, I've been in a lot of states lately, so the general Midwest region, but I went out to nationals and enjoyed some open mics and some competitions in Oakland, and just spending time seeing what everybody's scene is about and planning for my 2016 tour. Yeah.
So who would you say inspires you poetically?
And, man, that's a wide variety of inspiration. I mainly am attracted to musicians. One, because I have no musical talent. I can't sing to save my life, and that's what I really wanted to do, but I know I'm terrible at it. So. Poetry, I've always written, but poetry just kind of happened in my life. I'm inspired by, Tracy Chapman as much as I'm inspired by Andrea Gibson, and I'm really inspired by comedians also, because I want there to be an element of positivity and humor in the work that I do, and bring a little light and love to the world. So anybody who's out there doing good work and just being true to themselves and having a mission to maintain integrity and sincerity, like, the list is endless.
Yeah, I noticed you're an emotional writer.
Absolutely. I'm kitchen sink confessional for sure. I have and I want to have bigger conversations, but I feel like imposing an idea on the general public and saying, I know the entire perspective, so I have the right answer. I don't want to be that poet. I want to be a person who says, in my experience, this is what I've learned. I hope that in some way you can relate to this, and that it helps you and it heals you and it gives you a direction. Because that's what the people who came before me did. Like you don't know everything, so it's okay. Nobody knows everything, but take life in stride. And I feel like I've grown tremendously because of that, and it's allowed me to remain humble. Because you can get pretty arrogant when people are celebrating you on stage. You feel like a rock star.
Yeah, because you just won Pound Slam in September.
Yeah,
right?
for 2 years of running a slam, 2 years of traveling, and I win my own slam the same night that I retire. And I was like, hey, thanks, Kansas City. And now I don't think I'll tour much for slams. I don't think I can take the competition aspect anymore. I
Yeah,
think
it can get stressful.
Yeah, it really takes the artistry out of it in a way. It requires you to push yourself, and to competition will always do that. But I just want to celebrate spoken word and do good by people who need to be inspired and need to be told that they fit in the world. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So you have a book coming out in 2016, right?
I do. Prospero's Books, Spartan Press, is producing 12 poets in 12 months. This will be the second year that they've done it, and I was approached by the team, Will Latham and Jason Reberg and Jeanette Powers, and asked if I wanted to submit my manuscript, and I did, and they accepted it. So it comes out February 27th, 2016. I plan to
wow, you
have
have
a
an
hell of
exact
a
date
party.
now.
Yeah,
February
I can't
27th.
wait. Yeah, and the book title is Slammed. 'Cause I have learned so much in the last 2 years.
Oh, I bet.
It's
I
been a
bet.
vice grip. So, yeah, I wanted to put some of my slam work down, some of my older work that I felt had a message I wanted to resonate with an audience, and I don't think it's a mixture of old and new, but it all has the same message, which is like, if you keep trying to keep up with the world and not just be true to yourself, you're gonna suffer. And so ultimately, what I'm evolving into is being the best version of myself. So I hope that's what comes out of the book.
So what would you say is the best subject you like to write off of?
Oh, well, it used to be predominantly focused on LGBT rights and inequality in the general sense. But I've just turned my pen and my heart more towards love, positivity, really sharing with people the good things in life, because I think we just get so inundated with sad and terrible, and I don't want to ignore those things. I just want to be more of a beacon of hope to adults. There's a lot of programs now, especially with poetry, where children and teenagers have a place to go and be welcome and start molding them for the future. But then you look at the 25 to 35-year-old crowd that's kind of caught generationally in between creative experiences. Like hip-hop hasn't died, but most of the people in my generation weren't at the beginning of hip-hop, and they weren't at the beginning of beat poetry either. So I want to empower the people that are kind of in that middle ground to just be true to themselves, no matter what their path looks like. You don't have to be a hero to be a good person. So that's where I'm at.
So what would you say to someone who's up and coming, an up and coming poet? What advice would you give them?
Oh man, that list is long. To up and coming poets, I would say remain humble.
No,
You know,
yes, definitely.
absolutely be
Because like you
sincere.
said earlier, get a little spotlight and just
And I understand it's so
spotlight,
incredibly
and especially if you
validating.
win a few times. It's like, you think you're, yeah.
Well, yeah, you do. You think that you gain this sense of being untouchable. And my spouse said to me, like, I loved you before the persona of poet Jen Harris existed. So I need you to remember, when you step off that stage and you approach people who have been moved or impacted by your work, you have to always be the sincerest version of yourself. Because, in photos or, with my get up, I
think that's anybody who's in entertainment, anything, that's one thing I would hope they would try to keep, is that humility and being humble. And
Absolutely. Well, and you get caught up in it because you start coming up and you're like, oh, I can afford more things, I can do more things, I go more places, and instead of, I don't want to be the kind of person that's like, what up, I'm in Bora Bora today. I want to be grateful, and I want to remain connected to people who, there's a lot of people who send me messages that say, like, your work inspires me. Well, your experience in life inspires me also, and we're all in this together. So if I don't remain humble and sincere and focused on creating a greater good for everybody, then what am I doing this for? This isn't a popularity contest. This is about making sure that everybody knows that they're loved and that they matter.
so how would somebody get in contact with you?
Every social media site you can be on, check out Poet Jen Harris. I have spent countless hours registering all those names. So Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation. I'm about to launch a new project, so definitely check out facebook.com/Poet Jen Harris, and you'll get all the details there.
And the name of your book that's going to be again?
Slammed. And the party's at Prospero's Books in KC, like I said, February 27th.
All right. Thank you for coming in, Jen.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm Serenity, reminding you to spit your piece. And make sure you check out whatsupkansascity.net.
I'm IFBB Bikini Pro Cat Williams, and when I'm not working out in the gym, I'm searching the web on Cascade Media and What's Up Kansas City. So make sure you check them out.